What's up, y'all? It's Eddie with SPV Wellness here to have our first video together. Like, subscribe, and comment. Comment, guys. Let's talk about it. Let me know what you think. Okay, I want to talk with you guys today about not looking up. Okay, it sounds a little bit counterintuitive, but we're not talking about whenever you're presenting yourself to the world, okay? You should acknowledge people in public because we're all people and human. You shouldn't be in that much of a rush with your day. You should be looking at people because you should be aware of your surroundings, and you should look confident and presentable at all times. That's just my opinion, okay? What I want to talk to you guys about actually is that sometimes we should not stop looking down. And I'm not talking about when you're presenting yourself, okay? I'm talking about when you're having a really hard time doing the crappiest thing you think you've ever done in that moment. Because it's always in that moment, right? And it's our body language in that moment and the perception of our leaders in those moments about us that can make us really weak without even knowing it. Okay? So, flashback to 2016, 2015. You've got a younger Eddie and Sergeant First Class, we'll call him Old. Okay, he was a scout from New England and he was running a machine gun range. I was the supply guy and the armor, and I loved the machine gun, so I gave myself a machine gun. So I got to go to the range, okay? I'm getting set up, and it's very unlike a supply guy to want to be there, you know? But what I'm doing, what I'm presenting, right, is getting ready, looking down the range, you know? I'm talking crap to the guy next to me, and I'm telling him I'm going to shoot his targets for him because I'm better than him. You know, I want to be there and I want to shoot guns. Well, I dry fire my weapon to make sure it's running, and my bolt falls out. Okay? Me being me, I will usually, now I'm going to try until I can't anymore. But back then, I would try. And so I try to put my bolt back together. I'm holding up the range at this point, which draws the attention of the people running the range. I try to put my weapon back together. And I run my gun again. The bolt falls out. To which I look up, and there he is, Sergeant First Class Old. And he's looking at me patiently, so patient. He's a really big dude. You know, he doesn't have this face of, you know, what we get usually in life when people are waiting on us. Is this condescending, disgusted tone, right? What I was looking at is this patient, teacher-like man who's just looking at me like, you can do this. But what am I presenting to him? So he waits a minute, makes me suffer in silence, right? And he's looking at my weapon. He's not looking at me. He's not concerned with me. He's like, hurry up. And he just says, do it again with his accent. You know what I mean? And so, try it again. I'm scrambling. Put it together, run it again, and it falls out, and I immediately, boom, eyes right back at him. He's just staring at my gun. He just says, do it again. And again, scramble, put it back together. Okay, it works this time. And you know, the sad thing about it working finally is that this man had told me to put it back together. And I had not had the courage to look back up at him and say thank you. Because who knows if I probably would have just walked over to someone else and had them put it together for me instead of doing it myself. There was no reason for me to even look up from that weapon because I knew how to put it back together. He knew that, and he was not going to do it for me. You know? These little life lessons that we just forget, right? And it came up from today, guys. You know, the person I'm trying to become today is a person that's extremely capable. You know, there's nothing wrong with needing help, but how hard have we tried? How hard did Eddie try until he couldn't, and then he needed help? And what is my reputation? You know, and what is my body language? What am I extending to others without even saying anything, right? How do I carry myself? What does it look like when I'm in trouble, right? Can I handle this? What can't I handle? And that's what all these things tell others about ourselves. And if we can just observe those little things about ourselves, we can truly see who we are on the inside. You know, I look back to those moments and how I felt in those moments when I was weak and panicking. I panicked so hard I couldn't tell this guy thank you. And it was about something he didn't care about. He didn't want to hear thank you anyway. But how strong is it for me to remember those things? Just a thought. So, fast forward to literally today, when I was trying to get these wires down a wall with, it's called a fish stick. You're just fishing a wire down the wall, and the wire is coated in this metal, and the metal's not too nice, and I'm breaking these fish sticks and trying to get it down the wall. My boss had stepped out to make a list of materials and get work together because we're getting 2 guys to help us out. My boss, Aaron, right now, the foreman, he's a service. He's on service. And what service is in the electrical and probably other industries is somebody needs a job done right now and you're a one-man show, right, guys? So Aaron is a super positive guy. He's a mega positive guy. He has a saying that I've picked up, and it helped me get that wire down the wall. And he says, "What am I doing? How am I going to do it? And can I do it better?" And he says that out loud to himself all the time. Another thing he says out loud to himself all the time is, "Hey man, what are you doing? Get back, let's get to work." This guy drives himself by himself day in and day out. And that's all that I can really see about him. And so what do I care about anything else, right? So today I'm trying to get this wire down the wall, and I'm trying and trying, and I wanted to give up really badly, but then Aaron's little mantra came out in my mind, and I was like, well, I'm going to use my phone, I'm going to record a little video, see what's blocking me. I thought outside the box, and I used what I had to figure out what I could do, and it worked. And it was crazy because it worked right. My wire came out of the wall as Aaron came into the door. It sounds like I'm, really making a fancy story or whatever, but it really happened, whatever. And he said, "Hey man, let's go." I was like, hell no. I was sweating, and I had just stopped being so mad, and I was so proud of myself because I had done this stupid thing that I was working on for so long. And he saw it in my face, and he said, and I said, "Hell no. I'm not leaving. I'm going to put this to the box it needs to go to, and I'm going to finish, and then I'll help you get ready." And, he just started laughing. You could see that I was working really hard at this stupid thing. And he thought it was cool. He just laughed about it because I didn't present some weak loser to this guy. I didn't have my tail between my legs where I couldn't figure something out. You know what I mean? I had built my character up enough to where in this moment, I knew that I could do this thing, and I was going to do this thing. I was determined to do this thing, and then at the end of it, if he had had enough, then he could step in and increase my productivity. But I was not going to give up because I wanted to figure it out. And I think a lot of that can do with our body language, guys. Because if you can look at another person, right? Obviously, it's literally looking up whenever you think you can't, whenever you haven't tried everything, but just looking up for someone, for God, for anyone to save you. Please save me. That is not how we should carry ourselves. We should not be arrogant and selfish and mad or mean whenever, we have to forgive ourselves for our shortcomings. But did we try hard enough to be proud of ourselves? How many things have we left unaccomplished that we carry as guilt or grief in our mind that we could have just solved if we would have just had a badass mantra? And what does our body language reflect because of those things? Because of what we're leading ourselves to believe, right? And it's just really cool to think about. It's really cool to think about that. Those kinds of things can tell you about who you're surrounded by, right? Those Sergeant First Class Old, I didn't get to work with him, but I knew he was badass because of how he carried himself and how he treated, now that I'm looking back, how he treated me in that moment. He didn't look at me with disgust. He didn't care. It just had to get done, and he was not going to do it. And fast forward to today, you know, Aaron saw me getting it done. I had done a bunch of other work that day, but this was the first thing I'd run into a problem with at the end of the day. And I didn't give up because it was at the end of the day, and I didn't leave it unfinished because it was at the end of the day. And he thought that was badass, you know, and why not, you know? He was okay with me leaving it halfway. Either way, I got most of it done, and that's fine. How do we carry ourselves? Who do we believe in? Do we believe in ourselves? And that's all I got for you guys. I hope you're interested. You know, leave a comment. Like, guys. Let's talk about it, you know. Until next 2 weeks from now, y'all take care, guys. Thank you.